What if the only thing standing between you and everything you've ever asked for is the universe's final test, and almost everyone fails it? In the depths of analytical psychology, Carl Jung discovered something disturbing. What we think of as random life events often follow an ancient inner order, where the psyche and the outer world mirror each other like reflections in dark water. If you found yourself here, it may not be by accident. Perhaps your soul already knows something your conscious mind has yet to comprehend. There is a chance you are among the few who are already standing in that narrow, shadowy space between what you have long prepared for in the darkness of your inner journey and the moment when you finally emerge into the light. You are in the midst of a final proving ground. This isn't an ordinary challenge that life presents to the sleeping masses. It is the line that separates those who merely scratch the surface of existence from those willing to dive into its deepest and most turbulent waters. It's the passage that distinguishes those who settle for fragments of truth from those ready to embrace wholeness, even if it destroys and reconstructs them. And though it can feel like resistance or even punishment from the heavens, in truth, it is a process of refinement through spiritual fire. Recognizing the signs of this dark phase is how you pass through without losing your soul along the way. These markers are not coincidences of fate. They are precise signals that you are on the verge of stepping into the life you have always sensed was your true nature. The psyche and the universe are not separate forces wandering in the void. Jung's concept of synchronicity describes those moments when events with no apparent cause still arrive to you, bearing deep personal meaning, as if responding to some hidden dialogue between your inner and outer worlds. But even more crucial than your desires is the state of your being. Life does not respond only to desperate pleas whispered in darkness. It answers to the tone and steadiness of your inner frequency. Every time you are close to stepping into a higher state of consciousness, a new cycle or a more abundant reality, something is placed before you to confirm your spiritual readiness. This is not merely about worthiness. It is about the capacity to sustain the light without being consumed by it. The final test comes to ensure you will not fall back into the same dark patterns you have worked so hard to free yourself from. It brings you the same temptations, the same open wounds, the same voids, not to harm you, but to confirm that you now see them with crystal clarity. As Jung wrote from the depths of his own darkness, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The test is the moment where fate becomes conscious choice. History gives us living proof of this. Few realize that one of the most defining transformations of the 20th century took place in Jung's own life, precisely at a moment when he was stripped of status, allies, and certainty. His split from Freud left him not only professionally isolated, but publicly ridiculed. The pillars of his reality crumbled like castles of sand. It was in this apparent collapse that he turned inward with almost monastic devotion, recording visions, dreams, symbols, and inner dialogues that emerged like ghosts from the depths of his mind. This descent into the abyss gave birth to what became known as the Red Book, a private record of his journey through the darkness of the unconscious, pages stained with psychic blood and illuminations that sprouted from the absolute darkness. From this abyss emerged the understanding that what is outside is also inside, and what is inside manifests outwardly like shadows dancing on the cave wall. Life does not send us tests from somewhere beyond the stars. It simply brings into form the challenges our inner being is already strong enough to face. So when structures crumble, when relationships dissolve, when certainty melts away like salt in the rain, it is not a verdict, it is a summons. And the signs that follow are not coincidences, but thresholds that only a soul prepared in darkness can recognize. The first sign is the sense of being observed, not in a paranoid way, but with an awareness that your choices now carry cosmic weight. It is the feeling that an invisible intelligence is watching not only what you do, but why you do it. Every movement of yours resonates in dimensions you can barely perceive. You may notice it in the smallest actions, which words you choose in conversation, which opportunities you accept or decline, which impulses you follow or resist. Each decision echoes in the void, like stones thrown into a bottomless well. Jung observed that moments of deep inner change intensify the interplay between the inner and outer world, You are being asked to remain conscious even when the purpose remains hidden in the shadows. Ordinary life allows autopilot. This phase does not. The very fact that you sense this cosmic surveillance is evidence that you are operating at a higher level of existence. You may feel as though a part of you has awakened from long dormancy, suddenly aware of subtler layers of reality that were always there, waiting in the darkness for you to develop the eyes to see them. Your words seem to carry more consequence, rippling through the fabric of reality. Your presence shifts the energy of a room like a stone disturbing still water. Your smallest gestures echo outward in ways you can feel but cannot explain. This heightened sensitivity is not meant to burden you. It is meant to equip you to navigate this passage with precision. It is an inner compass, sharpening for the path ahead, calibrated in the shadows. The second sign comes when life begins arranging situations that seem perfectly tailored to press on the edges of your patience, your trust, and your emotional steadiness. These are not accidents born from chaos. They are exact calibrations based on your history and your growth. Perhaps a familiar conflict arises that touches the same old wound, but now you must respond from a higher place. Or you are asked to step into a role requiring the very courage you've been building in solitude. Maybe you are tempted to rush a process that demands patience, or face long stretches where nothing moves and everything feels suspended in dark amber. The point is not to test your strength alone, but your wisdom. Whether you can pause instead of react. Whether you can hold your truth even in the face of misunderstanding that cuts like a blade. Jung described individuation as repeatedly meeting the shadow and integrating it each time at a deeper level. The final test asks whether you can not only recognize your shadow, but work with it consciously, refusing to let it steer your actions from the darkness. You may notice that your reactions now have a pause before them, a gap where choice lives. That pause is the mark of growth forged in fire. The third sign is a sudden speeding up of the link between your inner state and what unfolds around you. Thoughts, emotions, and intentions begin to manifest with unusual swiftness, as though the delay between seed and harvest has nearly disappeared. This can be exhilarating when your focus is clear and your emotions are steady. Opportunities appear like doors opening in the darkness, conversations align perfectly, and solutions arrive at just the right time. But it can also be unsettling because negative thoughts and fears seem to materialize just as quickly. This stage is a proving ground for your mental and emotional discipline. It is as if the universe is saying, if you are to be a conscious co-creator, show me you can be deliberate with every signal you send into the field. Many describe this as feeling like driving a powerful car for the first time. Its speed can thrill you or overwhelm you depending on your mastery. As William James once wrote, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes." In this acceleration phase, your attitude and focus are not just important. They are the steering wheel and the brakes. The fourth sign is a growing sense of separation from the people and environments that once felt familiar. This is not loneliness in the conventional sense. It is the awareness that your frequency has shifted and fewer people are tuned to it. Conversations that once absorbed you now feel hollow, like echoes in empty chambers. Spaces you used to inhabit drain your energy rather than restore it. This is what Jung called the differentiation process, where the psyche begins to separate from the pull of the collective to find its own true voice emerging from the shadows. It's not that you have become antisocial, it's that your discernment has sharpened like a blade honed in darkness. You are less willing to spend energy on connections that do not nourish your becoming. This separation serves a purpose. It ensures your growth is not interrupted by influences that would pull you back into old patterns. It is a test of whether you can source your sense of belonging and strength from within without leaning on external approval. In this stage, you might feel as if you are living in a transparent bubble, able to see the world clearly, yet engaging with it on your own terms. The fifth sign is the opening of channels of knowing that are difficult to explain logically. You might receive answers in dreams so vivid they linger for days, or find yourself anticipating someone's words before they speak them. You might enter a space and feel its energy before anything has happened, or know the outcome of a situation without evidence. This is not an escape from rationality, but an expansion of it, adding intuition to the tools you use to navigate reality. Jung noted that the collective unconscious holds the entire storehouse of humanity's experience, and in times of deep change, our access to it intensifies. This is the inner compass you will need when maps are incomplete or outdated. At first, you may doubt these impressions, fearing self-deception, but the test is to balance them with reason, neither dismissing them outright nor surrendering blindly. Those who succeed in integrating this deeper guidance with rational thought often find they move through life with a quiet certainty that others can feel but cannot name. The sixth sign is the simultaneous closing of multiple chapters in your life. Relationships dissolve like morning mist. Projects reach their natural end. Habits or identities you have worn for years suddenly feel too small, like clothes that no longer fit. This can feel like loss, but it is also a clearing. As Jung observed, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. These endings remove what no longer fits the self that is emerging from the cocoon of transformation. They are the shedding of a skin that cannot stretch to contain what you are becoming. The true test here is whether you can let go without bitterness. Can you see each closure as an act of grace? Can you trust that what is leaving is making room for what is aligned? In this space between the old and the new, faith becomes your anchor in the storm. And then comes the seventh sign, a deep, almost unshakable sense that something remarkable is on the horizon. This is not mere optimism born from desperate hope. It is a quiet certainty that arises from beyond the mind, as though your deeper self already sees the shape of what is coming through the mist. External life may still look ordinary or even chaotic, but inside you feel a pull toward a future that feels both inevitable and close. Jung spoke of the self existing beyond linear time, perceiving potentials before they manifest in the physical realm. You may find this feeling accompanied by heightened synchronicities, prophetic dreams, or a peace that does not depend on circumstances. The test is to hold this inner knowing steady even when there is no external proof. This is what turns anticipation into attraction, what draws that unseen reality into form. If this message resonates with you, hit subscribe and stay on this journey with us. Thanks for being here. If you recognize yourself in most of these signs, pause and truly take in the magnitude of what that means. You are not simply enduring a rough chapter written in darkness. You are in a precise stage where every challenge, every delay, and every resurfacing wound is part of a deliberate design, refining you for what your soul has carried as possibility for years. The universe's final test is not a measure of worth. You have always been worthy. This is confirmation that you can hold the life you've envisioned without slipping back into the patterns you once lived by. It is about steadiness in uncertainty, alignment when temptation arises, and trust when the road ahead is hidden in shadow. Most people drift through life reacting to whatever appears, unaware that each reaction sculpts their reality like an artist shaping clay. But you have cultivated the pause, that sacred space between impulse and action where choice is born. You've learned to respond rather than react, to observe your inner tides before they spill outward. As Viktor Frankl wrote, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. The final test is about proving you will use that space well. Passing it brings no public recognition, but something far greater. The reality you've always sensed was possible. A life where you stand without disguise, without apology, and without shrinking to fit someone else's comfort. The freedom to create, to choose, to live from the truth of who you are. This is why so few ever face the final test in its purest form. It is reserved for those who have already built the foundations of self-responsibility, inner honesty, and conscious awareness forged in the fires of experience. You are no longer in the early stages of discovering yourself. You stand at the threshold of fully embodying it. The extraordinary life you feel approaching is not wishful thinking. It is a reality already seeded in the unseen, growing stronger with every choice you make in alignment with it. The universe does not place the final test to block you, but to ensure that when your new life arrives, you will honor it by living it consciously. Every trial now is an invitation to mastery. Every pause in momentum is a chance to prove to yourself that you are no longer who you once were. And when you emerge from this process, you will not simply turn a page. You will have become the person for whom the next chapter was written. You did not arrive here by accident. Every lesson, doubt, loss, and quiet victory has been a stepping stone to this moment. The final test is not meant to wear you down. It is meant to reveal the depth of your resilience and the clarity of your vision. You are not being asked to be flawless, only to be conscious. The universe is not watching for perfection, but for proof that you can remain aligned with your higher truth, even when nothing around you affirms it. That is why familiar triggers resurface, why old wounds return, why patterns you thought resolved seem to echo again. This is the proving ground where you don't just speak of change, you live it. When you pass this test, the shift is quiet but profound. Doors open without force. What once seemed far away stands before you. Synchronicities become a fluent language rather than rare events. You carry an unshakable calm into situations that would once have unraveled you. This is when the life you envisioned begins to meet you in visible form, not because you demanded it, but because you became the person capable of sustaining it. As Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. The test ensures you can hold this privilege without losing yourself. If you feel that deep certainty, that quiet knowing that something extraordinary is approaching, trust it. Let it guide your choices. Steady your thoughts. Move with patience, even when the timing tests you. The fact that you are here means the universe already considers you ready. What remains is to walk through this space with the awareness and integrity you have worked so hard to build. And when that moment comes, and it will, you will see that every challenge, every stillness, and every shadow had purpose. You will understand that the struggles were not detours, but essential steps that aligned you with the reality that is now yours. This is your graduation, not marked by applause, but by the quiet certainty that you are exactly where you were meant to be. From this point forward, you are no longer waiting for the extraordinary. You are living as though it is already here, because the shift has already begun. The person who started this journey is not the same one standing here now. You have crossed the invisible line. You have stepped into the new reality you once only dreamed of. And it will keep unfolding as long as you remain awake to it, guided by the same awareness, integrity, and trust that brought you through the final test.